one podcast, mining the Magic the Gathering community for salt. This is the Howling Salt Mine.
It's the Howling Salt Mine. The Howling Salt Mine.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Howling Salt Mine, the podcast where we delve those salty, salty mines.
As always, get the salt. What do? We delve into those salty, salty mines, find the salty stories you love,
Put them in
our
our mine cart,
and bring them right back up to you, our dear prospectors at home. As always, I'm your host, Sam, and I'm joined by my singular co-host, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Hello.
Hello,
What is
indeed.
going on?
Yeah, we never said what's going on. Hello, indeed.
I mean, I did say before the show I needed to vent, so that's the answer to what's going on.
Hello, indeed. And before we go any further, we got to shout them out, our nice tier patrons. And this week we have D. Beeson, Elgo Fogel, Alex Balix, ZZ, Swanky Badger, Joe, Sri the Tree, Unlimited Lotus, Happy Slaps, Sassy by Accident, Ruppy, Matt's Tendies, Santasmic, Not Skittle, and Gold Sabertooth. Thank you for being so nice.
That's a lot of niceness.
That is a lot of niceness. Yeah, so Tony's not here. He's a busy business boy. It happens from time to time. We all have such busy lives. My busy life is during the waking hours, and then at night I am actually usually quite free. It's not that true. I do a lot of stuff, but that's why I'm here all the time. But Tony's not here, so it's just me and Mike today. And Mike, we always go back and forth about who we are.
Yeah.
But really, I think at our core, we're the rules guys.
Ooh.
We love to talk about rules. And there's a pretty recent rules change.
Yes.
I think you and I should probably talk about.
I think we've actually set a good custom of this. This is the kind of change where I just think the two of us are probably the best situated of any of the Howling Salt Mine hosts to talk about this problem, really.
I completely agree. I mean, if you look at the catalog of the Howling Salt Mine and all of our bonus content, only 2 out of the 3 hosts have actually done a deck tech for Selvala Explorer Returned, and it's you and me.
Yeah, never. I like to just kind of pleasantly ignore that Tony's, I don't know, maybe played it once or twice.
Yeah, I guess.
But I think
we're
best. I think it's time for us to, really take the reins on what that deck is.
Yeah, and also I've played against it so many times that I think I actually have a little bit more experience than Tony.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know the ins and outs to the same extent that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're recording this on August 6th, and tomorrow this rule comes into effect. As of August 7th, Rule 605.1a will be changing to say, an activated ability is a mana ability if it meets all of the following criteria. It doesn't require a target. See Rule 115.6. It could add mana to a player's mana pool when it resolves. It's not a loyalty ability. See Rule 606, loyalty abilities. And this is the new addition. And its cost and effect don't move any card to or from a library. Do not take into account replacement effects that may apply other than self-replacement effects when evaluating these criteria. So this is a new change. People might have seen on our social media, Tony did a post-mortem, a loving send-off to Selvala Explorer Returned, because this is really the big impact, is that Selvala is no longer a mana ability, that parlay ability, which we should probably just read. So for people who aren't familiar, Selvala Explorer Return costs 1, a green and a white. It's a 2/4, and it has a very interesting ability. It's a parlay effect. This came from Conspiracy Draft. You tap her, and each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you add a green mana, and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. So in the previous rules, this was a mana ability. So the card draw couldn't be responded to, didn't use the stack. This is just something that happened. And one of the reasons why Selvala was, an interesting CDH deck, maybe not the best, but not the worst, but an interesting one, is that there are a lot of combos that would basically allow you to tap Selvala and then untap Selvala either as like a cost or as a different mana ability. And you'd basically have these combos where you could cause everybody to draw their entire decks without interaction, without any moments of priority.
Mhm.
Now that this is just a regular ability, you're kind of fucked.
Specifically, the best way of doing this was with like Pilipala, which is also a mana ability. So it's 2 mana to make 1 mana by untapping. So if you have Marvin, which could copy both of those abilities, you could just draw everybody's decks truly without them having a chance to respond to it, since it was mana ability speed.
Yep. And the other one is Umbral Mantle, which does cost a bit of mana. You kind of have to have something that reinforces the amount of mana Selvala makes, or, you know, make sure you're not whiffing and hitting lands when you're doing that parlay. But Umbral Mantle has a 3 mana untap ability that just buffs the creature, but you don't really care about it actually resolving. The cost of that ability is to untap. So you're basically alternating costs and mana abilities, and that also prevents any window for interaction.
Mm-hmm. Another situation that made Selvala cheeky was if you went for a Thoracle combo by demonic consulting your whole deck away. Selvala, like if you have the Thassa's trigger on the stack and your deck is empty, Selvala could tap, and I think Parlay would draw people a card. And so people would lose at mana ability speed in those instances too. And now players could respond. So Selvala's ability would go on the stack and someone could, like, I don't know, bounce their, like, flicker their Thoracle or something, or Noxious Revival a card onto the top of their deck or something. So one of the cheeky plays is gone too.
And I mean, you know, even just the downside of Selvala was always that you were drawing people cards, but the fact that they couldn't respond to it was pretty good. It was just total chance. But now when Selvala taps, you could just be like, sick, I'm vamp tutoring and I'm going to get the best card in my deck. I'll just put my ad nauseum right on top of my deck and you're going to help me draw it. So it's a huge nerf to the CEDH deck. Tony is genuinely very sad about it. And it's a pretty big bummer. Like, without that, the combos just kind of fall apart. The fact that they were so uninteractive was the interesting thing there.
Yeah.
I will also say it was very broken and was just like such a weird rules interaction. I am kind of shocked that it took them like 12 years to actually deal with it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so friggin' weird.
Yeah. I think it's probably something that was so rare. Like, there were only so many cards that really did zone changing of other cards during mana abilities.
Yep.
But yeah, Selvala famously, people hated it because, like, it does weird stuff with Pen Glacial Worm and just kind of breaks the rules. Because like, you have to use it, and you can use it, and maybe, like, if you're casting Pen Glacial Worm from your library on a search, you can do it using Selvala's mana, which means that you might draw the Pen Glacial Worm as part of paying for the cost of casting it while you're searching for your deck. So it just, like, broke. It was already breaking rules, the fact that cards could move zones as part of mana abilities. So I get it. It kind of fixes that finally, but it's definitely a real change. It's one of those changes that really only touches this super fringe corner case things. And CDH happens to be a format where sometimes you rely on breaking those. And now this deck can't break those.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of other things too. So like Millikin gets hit. Millikin's a classic 2 mana, tap it for a colorless and you mill a card. That's no longer a mana ability now. There's a few others like Chromatic Sphere, Barbed Sextant, Darkwater Egg. All of those eggs are no longer mana abilities.
Oh, interesting. Is Barbed Sextant isn't, even though the drawing a card is a delayed trigger?
Yeah, it's no longer one.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Because part of the ability moves a card from zones.
Yep.
That is interesting.
And then one of my favorite cards, one of your favorite cards as well, Priest of Forgotten Gods.
That already targeted.
Did it? Oh, you're right. It did already target.
Yeah, so that one was already.
Never
but
mind,
I do love that card. It's true. But yeah,
I think at the very least it helps clear it up. Yeah, that was one that always confused me. But yeah, it's an interesting change. So, you know, I think another downside is that Badgermole Cub is no longer gonna allow like Millikin or Selvala to produce an additional green when it taps for mana, because Badgermole Cub only cares about mana abilities for that.
Oh, true.
So it loses, there's just a bunch of synergy that it loses. Like Badgermole Cub was a key upgrade for Selvala because for that Umbral Mantle thing, if you are hitting 3 mana, you know, if people are parlaying and you're only seeing 1 land, you're neutral and you can just keep going. But if you start to see 2 lands, you start to lose that excess mana. And Badgermole Cub was just the push that made it a little less non-deterministic. You still have to go through it, but it's a lot harder for you to absolutely whiff on those parlay taps.
Right.
But now you don't have that enforcement anymore.
There are some interesting things now since it's not a mana ability. Like there are some things that interact only with non-mana abilities, like Rings of Bright Hearth is an interesting example where
Yep.
you know you can do something now where you're copying Selvala's ability with something like that. I'm not sure enough of those. Like I am sure actually. There's not enough of those that are good enough that it counterbalances losing the mana ability nature of it.
Yeah.
But there I'm sure there are some interesting things there that opens up to. Time will tell.
Another card that cares about creatures that don't have mana abilities is Ashnod the Uncaring, which costs 2 and Grixis, 5 mana total, Death Touch 1/4, and 1 big chunk of text. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact or creature that isn't a mana ability, if one or more permanents were sacrificed to activate it, you may copy that ability, and you can choose new targets for the copy. So that is like a pretty spicy thing where now you can, because of certain things like Chromatic Sphere, for example, where you pay 1, tap it, sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color, and draw a card. Now you can pay 1, tap it, sack it, get 2 mana, and draw 2 cards.
Pretty neat.
For
Pretty
a
cool.
1 mana rock, like, or for, 1 mana artifact, that's like pretty spicy,
That's pretty
dude.
cool.
Because it's, things that sacrifice themselves are also seen by Ashnod. I've been reading the Brothers War book from like many, 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 many years ago, and Ashnod is just like a badass in it. So I've been looking at Ashnod the Uncaring a lot lately and wanting to build it. And then this rule change happened, and I was like, all right, maybe I
gotta do it.
Maybe I'm gonna do it. I don't have any Grixis decks, so I think it could be kind of fun.
Could be good. So the good rules giveth, and the good rules taketh away.
Exactly. Selvala is now relegated to bracket 3 or bracket 4, but Ashnod the Uncaring, I might be playing it.
Nice.
So I think it's, the laws of equivalent exchange. But yeah, it's a bummer, man. I do feel for Tony.
There's definitely some people out there feeling kind of salty about this change.
I think so, man. I think there's some salt out there for sure.
Yeah. I know I just said it, but Sam, what is salt?
That's a great question, Mike, and thank you for asking. Salt is anything in the game of Magic the Gathering that is going to get you frustrated, irritated, grumpy. It's frustration in the game, as we like to say. Sometimes you're sulky, sometimes you're sad. Maybe your deck just is playing poorly and you're really excited to play it that night. Maybe a big rules change happened and made it so one of your decks is absolutely unplayable. That's pretty big salt. That's a sad salt. I thought Tony was going to be pissed off, and he was actually
he was sulky salt.
Yeah, he was very bummed out. So there's a lot of different types of salt out there, and we're going to talk about all of them so that we can learn from it and hopefully not be salty in a future game of Magic. As we like to say, it's an Edge of Educational podcast.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, indeed. Well, should we jump into some salty stories here, Mike?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking do it. I'm just like musing on all these rule changes. Like the bans happened, and Tony was so bummed out about Ob Nixilis. And then now this thing's happening with Selvala. I should say, for the people out there, Tony is sad, but he has told us that he also feels kind of free because Selvala wasn't keeping up, and he felt a little like honor bound to play it. So, you win some, you lose some. He's been playing a lot of Rog Thras, so he is a filthy blue player now, and he loves it.
This is like the third arrow hitting Boromir's chest. It's like, all right.
Seriously.
He can rest now. He put in a good fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can sleep the eternal sleep now. Yep.
It can get floated down the River Andero.
And Tony's in a canoe paddling away with Rograk and Thrasios. What should our first search term be here, Mike?
Nerf.
Nerf. Let's do it. Whoa. What? Hold on. I don't believe it.
Nerf gun ads.
0 emails that say Nerf. I'm shocked.
I guess rules?
Rules? I'm down for rules. There's one that's just titled Rule 34 stuff.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. That is one of the rules.
Someone also sent us a long story about Balatro. It's not about magic. It's just about Balatro.
That's not magic.
It's not about it, man. That's not one.
Interestingly enough, since magic's rules start at 100,
there is no Rule 34.
And the subsection with the most only goes to 33. There is no.
They did that on purpose, dude.
Yeah, they're like, oh, no.
That's like elevators not having a 13th floor.
We can't add any more sections to additional rules, guys. They all got to go in the other sections.
Oh, man. All right, let's read this story.
33 is handling illegal actions. So they were like, we've handled it. It all goes into here.
So close. It's so close. They're about to have another illegal action. All right, I found a story right here. This one is titled Newbie Gets Rules Lawyered. And this one comes to us from our buddy Sauce Tin.
Sauce Tin
as one word, like a tin that you would hold sauce in, but combined.
And it's not like the name Austin with an S in the beginning.
No. It's like Sauce Tin.
I love it.
All right. And the story goes, hey, Sam. Hey, Mike. Am I forgetting someone?
Nope. You got it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dan. Buckle up. It's a long one, but I promise it really isn't as long as it seems. And I think you'll find it worth it. Wow. What a perfect story for our episode today.
It's a great intro for a 2-person ep.
Yeah, genuinely could not have picked a better one. My name is Sauce Tin. Sauce Tin. Yeah, they explain it. Yeah, and today I bring you a story from my first year of playing Magic at my old LLGSGS, local LGS game store, with my friend who first introduced me to Magic back in Return to Ravnica block. I was playing a Simic Evolve deck with some red, and my opponent was on Selesnya. Third and fourth player can get fucked because they don't exist. This was a 1v1 Dragon's Maze pre-release, and this was our second match of the night. Fun fact about Dragon's Maze pre-release, everyone got a stamped copy of Maze's End just for showing up. I didn't know that. That's fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
My opponent wasn't some regular opponent. He's also the guy who enters the record into the computer and acts as judge for the store. This would be my third pre-release with him in this role, but my first time having the fortune of doing well enough to play against him. We had so far liked him. He was a fair judge who understood this was a casual format, talked to us about Magic, and always seemed to be an overall great player, at least so far. Let's call him Jay. Game 1 starts off with some bullshit. I go second and untap and start to play some cards. After casting some card that I overrated because I was a dumb intro player, example, me thinking Horncolor's Chant was bananas, when I realized I forgot to draw. I ask, sorry, I forgot to draw. Is it all right if I draw now? He goes, okay, that's fine, but technically you need to track these things. Okay, you're the judge. I get out some attackers like Wasteland Viper, a 1/2 death touch, and Battering Krasis, a 2/1 with an evolve keyword that gives it a +1/+1 counter every time something with greater power or toughness enters on my side of the battlefield. Jay gets out blockers. Notably, these blockers include Voice of Resurgence, a 2/2 mythic for GW for green and white that says whenever Voice of Resurgence dies or when your opponent casts a spell during your turn, create a XX elemental token with power toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. Technically, it's a star elemental token. Go to combat, I say. Declare attackers, Jay says. I say yes. I swing in and cast pump spells, giving my creature 3 toughness to save it from any blockers. But as a new player, I do this before blockers are declared. That triggers Voice, and I get a 3/3 elemental token. Go to blocks, and I block with the token. Both die, Jay says. I start to get salty at my mistake, while Jay has his turn and passes. I start my turn making sure I don't forget to draw, then untap. Jay says, hold on, you missed your untap step. What? I say, okay. Our mutual friend walks up to watch our game. Noticing this, Jay gets visibly uncomfortable and after a long, long pause says, I mean, okay, it's a casual format. Go ahead and untap. Okay.
Wait, what? You missed it.
He's going to make it say you didn't untap? Okay. We have to soldier on. I untap. I cast my best card, the original Ral Zarek, and kill his Voice of Resurgence so he can't swing back. But I forget. Voice makes a token when it dies. So on his turn, he swings back and kills my Ral and later kills me. My friend walks away. Next game begins and adds more salt. I again draw before untapping. I immediately realize my mistake, look up at him, and he says, no, sorry, you need to remember your own steps.
Oh my God.
I start to give up. I get some creatures down along with Rawl, but his board is overwhelming mine. I just want to activate my Rawl a few times to milk a little fun out of this game, and when he swings to kill Rawl with exact damage, I try to save it. I go to blocks, and only then do I realize that I forgot the Evolve trigger on my Battering Krasis that would have made it a 4/3 against a trampling threat. I mention it, asking it if it's all right if we go back, and I add that +1/+1 counter. It wouldn't affect his board state. My creature would still die, but I'd get another turn to simply +1 Rawl and have a little fun. He says, you really need to remember your own triggers. I lose Rawl, then lose the game for a clean 0-2. We go back to the store for a few more pre-releases. I never do well enough to compete against Jay again, who always seems to win. This is until my friend recommends another store. Why, I ask. Oh, well, it turns out that Jay didn't even work for the store. He just offered to run the events. Whenever there's an odd number of players and someone needed a buy, which counts as a free 2-0 game, he'd just give it to himself. That's why he would win pre-releases so much. So I don't want to go back there. Jay was cheating this whole time and not even like mana weaving or something, literally abusing his power, and word got out. After months of feeling salty, I finally felt vindicated. So what do you think? Who was right and who was wrong? Was Jay just being a good judge by teaching me the rules? Was I in the wrong for misplaying? Just kidding. Jay was a sleazy dick nozzle and he deserves to be kicked out of that store. Thanks for reading my story. Do you remember how I said this story wouldn't be as long as it seems? Well, as SEO, I've copied and pasted the most common 10,000 words of the English language below and changed their font to white so you can't see them. Use the mouse to highlight the space below to see. Thanks again, Sawston. Good Lord.
Incredible.
Oh my God.
Incredible work.
Rules was in the title.
It was the title.
Rules was in the story. Rules is also in the SEO.
Incredible.
Holy shit. He genuinely did. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay. Well, thank you, Sawston. That's an epic story, dude. This guy sucks. This judge really sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't think you can skip your untap step. Like, I don't think that's a thing.
No, your untap step, it just exists.
Yeah.
That's just there. You just get that. So
it's
if
not a trigger you miss.
You might be like maintaining your game state a little weirdly with moving things along. Like you're not supposed to draw before you untap. But man, that's such a common thing. And it's going to matter so little to these games.
Seriously.
It's not something you miss. It's like, because you might have a negative effect in your untap step. You can't just like skip that, you know? That's just part of the phases of your turn.
So like these aren't triggers that you forget. These are gates that you move through over the course of your turn. Like there's no way to be like, oh, I forgot it. It would simply be like, oh, you accidentally did your draw phase before your untap phase. Put that card back. You have to start your turn with the untap phase. There's no way that you don't untap unless a card is telling you not to.
Yeah. Around triggers, rules wise, you're not required to remind your opponent about the triggers. So that part, he's right.
The evolve thing checks out.
But you're also allowed to, like, if you want to. And man, you know what's really cool? You know what's even cooler than winning all the time at the game store? Teaching other people how to play Magic. That's cooler. That's actually cooler than just winning all the time. And especially if someone's like new like this, I hate it. I don't like it.
So the other thing that bums me out, and I like kind of caught it as I was reading through, is I think Jay cheated with Voice of Resurgence. Granted, this could just be like a miswritten section or misremembered, but they say that Voice of Resurgence triggers when it dies and when an opponent casts a spell during your turn. And then there's a combat phase on Sawston's turn Jay asks if they're going to declare attacker's phase, and they say yes. They swing in and cast a pump spell, giving the creature 3 toughness to save it from any blockers. But as a new player, I do this before blockers are declared. Jay says, that triggers voice, and I get a 3/3 elemental token. Go to blocks and unblock with my token. Both die. No, that's not how Voice of Resurgence works, right?
Yeah, voice works when you cast a spell during voice controller's turn.
Yeah.
During the other player's combat. So they got it wrong. They're just cheating and making extra tokens too.
Yeah, so that like interaction just also didn't even work. Jay is just like literally cheating with Voice of Resurgence. Dude, it's like so fucking ridiculous, man.
If you're gonna pretend to be a judge, you should know the rules.
Literally, yeah. Like I'm not shocked to hear at the end of this story that this is just some random jamoke who's like, I'll run the thing, telling people he's a judge and shit like that. Like that's so corny, dude. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Even at a pre-release, like there should be some grace, because a lot of new players go to pre-releases, and sure, like pricing is on the line, you want to win and stuff like that. But I think Jay probably had this player anyways, just when it comes down to like efficiencies with playing. And, maybe some of the matches would have been close. Sounds like they were getting stomped in the second one anyways. But then again, they weren't able to untap their lands for a turn. So who the fuck knows how it was actually going to turn out.
But also, like, you can't skip your untap. And you also kind of can't skip your draw. Like, if a judge came by and both players were like, yeah, I didn't draw. Like, this player didn't draw during their draw step. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think the right way to correct that is probably have that player draw.
I think so. Yeah.
Usually, unless there was like a shuffle or they like put, did something since then that would make use of that draw, then a judge would maybe be like, okay, well, that doesn't make you can't just catch up your draw once you cast your Vampiric Tutor or something, right?
Things have changed.
But like they'd probably walk it back to if they could give you that draw, because that's like how the game would have functioned in giving you that. So both of those are just not real things to skip. The trigger is sort of its own separate rules thing. Where you could miss it, but that's also something where like if you made the thing, the trigger, you get to kind of put that on until it matters a little bit.
Yeah.
So like there's also a world where this player would have been allowed to put the trigger on the creature too. So
yeah, I think if you called a judge over and you said my opponent drew a card before they untapped, don't they skip their untap step now? I think the judge would like laugh at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'd be like, no, just untap your shit. What are you guys talking about? I have an event to run.
Yeah. Yeah. So the advice here would be call a judge, but not this guy.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks when the only judge that you can call is this person,
phony.
And then not to mention the taking the buy rounds. Giving the buy rounds to themselves so they automatically get the free 2-0 and win the pre-release.
That's so ridiculous.
Kind of a failure of the game store, honestly, to like not have somebody dedicated to run events like this and to just trust like a random dude. I think if you're the game store owner, you should probably be a little bit suspicious if the person running your event is winning them all the time.
Yeah. We say as a community channel with random people running our
running our leagues.
Kidding. Love you. Love you. Thomas.
Yeah, Doug's dad wins all the time.
Doug's dad wins every game. Oh my God.
He told me he was able to start with 2 extra lands in play at the beginning of the game. I just believed him.
Tyler puts unrealistic numbers up on Naya. What's going on?
Oh man, what a ridiculous story. So, Mike, what do you feel is the salt rating for this one?
This is really high salt, as I've mentioned a legacy of my life where I was getting accused of adding random rules to games to eke out an advantage when they were true, real, genuine rules. So to see someone out there doing that, it drives me crazy, especially to a new player. It's just so like, you're so missing the point of what we're doing. That's so lame.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, this is wicked, wicked high salt for me. Like you have somebody who's supposed to be a trusted steward of the game, a steward of the LGS, who's cheating in game and cheating organizing the game, and then just being a dickhead to new players under the guise of being like a judge. Like I hope so much that he got kicked out of the store.
Yeah.
They kind of hint that maybe he did, but I don't think he did. I mean, if you're leaving to go play at another store, I don't think this guy got kicked out. I hope by now he has been, but this is just so ridiculous.
Yeah, lame.
Good story, though. Thank you, Sawston.
Next story. Let's go to another one.
Yeah, let's do it. What should our search term be for this one?
Mana ability.
Mana ability. Hold on, I got to put this MF in quotes. Oh, there was one story, Mike, but we have already read it.
Alas. How about S tier?
S tier. S tier. Hold on. Let me try it with a hyphen. Let me see. There are two stories, but we have read them.
No. Wow.
How about just Selvala? Let's see.
Yeah. All right. Let's just do it.
Selvala. All right. We've got a couple stories here. Let's do this one. This one is pretty old. This one's short, sweet, short-ish, and sweetened to the salt. And it comes to us from our buddy Austin. And the post is titled, Seamonsters Are Scary. And the story goes, hey, gents, newer listener and relatively newer Magic player. Under a year, but 8 years of Hearthstone grinding. Hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
Fuck yeah. That's actually quite a long time to be playing Hearthstone.
Yeah.
That's respectable. I dig it. This is my one and only time I've scooped at my LGS. Starts off like any other Friday Night Magic. Ooh, we're getting a lot of FNMs here. A buddy and I, Mr. White, get in a Mr. White, get in a pod and are waiting for our fourth. Our third, let's call him Mr. Pink. Oh, it's a Reservoir Dogs thing. I thought this was maybe a Breaking Bad thing, but it's Reservoir Dogs. Mm-hmm. Our third, let's call him Mr. Pink, is running an upgraded Valgavoth precon, and we are chatting about each of our Hate Bear decks. We all know what it's like being enemy number one, so I didn't expect too much salt. Then in comes Mr. Orange. Immediately as he sits down, he opens with, so Braids is unbanned, and I have had this deck on a shelf waiting forever. We all look at each other, and I'm the only one to speak up and say, yeah, not really looking to sweat that hard in our first game tonight. Mr. Orange agrees and pulls out the Hatsune Miku, not a weeb, I don't know how the fuck to spell it, commander, where he's returning the cast spells to hand. Which one is that, Mike? Do we know?
I don't know.
Returning cast spells to hand.
Oh, it's a reskin?
Is there an A tag?
There's not a Kefnet Miku. Returning cast spells to hand. Oh, probably there's a feather.
Yeah,
I guess it's Feather.
It's Miku the Renowned, a.k.a. Feather the Redeemed. Got to the bottom of that shit.
Hell yeah. Which, yeah, when you cast an instant or sorcery that targets a creature you control, you exile it and you get it back to your hand at the end step.
Yep. It's fucking cracked, Commander.
It's great.
I pull out Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, not Explorer Return.
Oh.
It's a bracket 3 with no infinites, pretty much just run you over. And Mr. White decided on Kenrith voting. A little political deck there. Mr. White takes the first one, no salt to or from Valgavoth, so it's a solid next couple of games. Forget the next commanders. Fast forward, Mr. White and Mr. Pink have to go, and I start packing up. Mr. White says I should stay and run another with Mr. Orange. I say fine, one more, but I want to play something fun and kindred. I pull out my Emoti Seamonster deck and let Mr. Orange know that it's a 1 that plays like a 3. He then begins to beg for unbanned Braids, and I give in and say sure, and the new 2 players in the pod are fine with it as well. So we get Braids, Emoti, Heliod, and Aragorn the United. Mr. Orange assured me that he is not getting Braids out early and mainly wants to play through his 99. Well, he must have forgotten that shit immediately. Braids was down on turn 3 and my soul leaves my body. I'm on 3 lands and nothing else. I can get out a Mana Dork and have Arithmeses in hand, so I'm not out of it yet. I play Arithmeses on turn 5 and it goes to Mr. Orange. Aragorn and Heliod, the flip one. Oh, the Azorius Heliod.
Wheeliod, if you will.
Yeah. Wheeliod. Have been building boards and pushing through the sacrifices. He looks at me and says, Arithmeses is a land while he has counters on it, right? Almost mocking me because I read it out for everyone and made sure they all understand the slumber counters. Well, Mr. Orange plays a destroy target land, picking Arithmeses.
Oh my God.
And my blood begins to immediately boil. In my hand, I have a 5 CMC ramp and spawning Kraken and some other big shits. It gets back to me and I say, yeah, I'm out of the game already. I scoop. And Mr. Orange responds with, well, Seamonsters are scary. I haven't gone back since and was motherfucking under my breath the whole way out. Hopefully this Friday I can muster the patience and solace to get some games in. So are Seamonsters really that scary? Well, thank you very much, Austin. Wow, we had Sawston and then Austin.
And Austin.
Damn.
Nice.
Damn. Yeah.
They're not that scary. They're not as scary as Braids.
Yeah. Mike, can you read Braids for the class here? I don't know if we've read it in a while.
For sure. Braids Cabal minion is 2 and 2 black for a legendary creature human minion. It's 2/2. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. So yeah, if you're running low on lands and this comes down turn 3 and goes before you and you get back to your turn, you have 3 lands probably. You got to sacrifice one of them.
Yeah.
And you can just get like locked down if you have nothing else that you can do. So this player was riding the very line. Like they could get a dork out. They could play Eternities, which ramps them up because it's a land that taps for 2. So they can like kind of get there if they can get their ramp spell off on 5. And no, that player just decides to eliminate them instead of taking down the players that are the farthest in the lead.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of like a decision to make as a group slug player, which is usually what the Cabal decks are. Like you either try and cut down constantly the person that's highest so that you can pull ahead, or you choose one player to say fuck you in particular and almost like stacks Voltron them out of the game, which is what this person did.
Yeah.
It's a decision. It's definitely a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of forcing the 3-player game at that point. Like, there is some strategy to it, but it's definitely not chill. Like, when your opponent is like, hey, this deck is like a thematic 1 that plays, or built like a 1, but it plays like a 3, and then you're like, sick, I'm going to fucking crush you. Not really very chill.
Yeah.
As an Emoti player, I still haven't taken the deck apart, but as an Emoti player, Emoti can be way, way, way more disgusting than just all the Seamonsters in it. Like the one that I have is foul. You know, I'm taking 20-minute turns and creating a massive board state, and it genuinely should be stopped early. Just flipping out big Seamonsters, like it's not, for all the gross things Emoti could be doing in bracket 3, like that's not a scary thing, really.
Yeah. That's like you could maybe put it together in like a commander draft or commander sealed or something.
Totally, yeah. Or like just look through the chaff that you own and like find all the Seamonsters and stuff them in a deck.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, this is kind of fun. But I mean, honestly, your intuition, Austin, was spot on. You, Mr. White, and Mr. Pink all being like, yeah, I don't think we want to play a game like that. You were correct. Like this person walked in with a Braids deck intending to create a horrible game and really pushed for it. I mean, I think like they didn't really say the exact cards, but a Braids deck like that, it's hard for me to say if it's really a fair bracket 3. I think there's a thing about like the brackets and the power levels is sort of like, you know, are your opponents equipped to respond to threats when they come down?
Mm-hmm.
And Braids is just one of those things where if it comes down early, you're just kind of fucked in certain situations. If you haven't built up anything at all, like you said, you just get locked going neutral with your lands. If you haven't dropped down a creature or something, and it's very, very, very hard to build past that. If you're not playing like at least 2 creatures a turn or an extra land drop a turn or like whatever have you, like you need to be dropping out 2 permanents a turn to push past the 1 permanent sack that you have to do every single turn.
Yeah. I feel like if you're running, maybe to generalize a little bit, if you're running a game changer as your commander, you should maybe consider that it's likely at least bracket 4. The only ones that there are Grand Arbiter Augustine IV, Braids, Cabal Minion, and it's just those 2.
Is that it?
And Turgrid.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's those 3. And yeah, I think if you're running any of those, you should be aware of what you're playing. You're playing an elusive breed of deck where your commander is already on the list of cards that's like, we'd maybe ban this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially fresh off the ban list, like, I don't know. I think people just know how bad it is. I will also say, Braids Cabal Minion, like you already read it, but it costs 4 mana, and this person got it out on turn 3.
They played a Signet or something.
Yeah, exactly. So they're ramping it out already. Like even playing it on curve is pretty rough. Getting out an extra turn earlier is incredibly rough.
Yeah.
And for them to be like, I'm not even trying to really play it. I'll play a late game or something, and then immediately like blast it out onto the board. It's so foul, dude. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've only played against the Braids Arisen Nightmare deck. I've never had to play against Braids Cabal Minion yet. I think Cabal Minion was in the 99 of the deck. My friend Drew was playing it, but I don't really recall. But in the 99, I don't think it's as bad because it comes up, you can kill it. You know, it's not going to always drop down on like turn 3 or 4 every single.
Yeah, it's not a consistent thing.
Like you'll have some variance sometimes where it comes down and creates a horrible game, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. So what do you think the Sol rating is on this one, Sam?
This is the kind of game where I would just go back home and be like, you know what, next Friday, I'm just going to play some Hearthstone. I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is, what's coming. You see it coming and there's nothing you can do to divert it.
Yeah.
Well, you divert it for a little bit, you get your first game in, and that's fine, but you can't hold it off for the second game. And you were right. Your instinct was correct. So at least you correctly judged a book by its cover here.
When someone says it's not that kind of Braids list or whatever, which they didn't exactly say, but they were kind of hinting like, it's not really that kind of Braids. I'm not trying to get Braids down immediately. You know, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck. And this person is that kind of Braids player.
Yeah, they're quacking.
Yeah, they're quacking. I think it's a bummer that you had great games all day with this person and then ended with this horrible salty stomping. You know, that's like the real drawback because we all have bad games every once in a while. But for this person to be like pretty chill all day and then finish the day off and kind of be like teasing you about your deck too is really strange.
It's kind of a good bit though. Like if you're playing with pretty experienced players, which if someone has like a Braids deck sitting on their shelf, they're probably like a little bit of experience.
For sure.
If you're playing with experienced players and you just had to read a whole card, especially like kind of a wordy one like Eternities, that's kind of funny for them to give you a little shit for it. Like that one, that's kind of funny to me.
But then
is that one a land again?
Hit it with the mono black land destruction, dude.
Yeah. I would hit someone with that one. They read the whole text explaining its land. All right, so I'm going to go to turn. Did you say that one was a land? That is my brand of humor.
If you weren't already getting like ground into dust by this Braids deck, I do kind of stand by using single target land destruction to kill an Eternities. Like it just makes sense. Out of all of the lands on board, that's the juiciest one.
Yeah, it is going to hurt you the most.
It's going to turn into this massive threat later on in the game. Like it makes sense to kill it, but you know, like you said, this is the decision. This is the decision point where they were like, I'm playing a 3-person game. This is how I'm going to use my resources is to create a 3-person game.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Orange.
How about one more?
Let's do one more. What's our last search term here, Mike?
I know I've burned through all of the Selvala based ones I can think of.
We could do Explorer.
Yeah, it's good.
Let's see. I'm putting quotes on this shit so we don't get any explorers. Oh, we have 3.
Nice.
Let's see. Give me a month of the year, Mike. Help me pick here.
July.
All right. Then we're going to do this one. This one comes to us from our patron, Oblio. What's up, dude? And this post is titled Cagey Behavior. And the story goes, hello, Los Salty Boys. I ran into y'all at Commander Sealed a few years ago, and honestly, thanks to Rothbox, decided to check out the pod.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Rothbox.
Yeah, thanks, Rothbox. You're a real one. My wife and I had a kid in January, and that has given me a lot of time to binge the backlog. Anyways, on to the story. Apologies for the length of the story. The nature of podcasting and parasocial friendships compels me to want you to think I'm funny and eloquent.
The power of parasocial relationships compels me.
Compels me. I took part in my LGS's Box Commander League for Edge of Eternities pre-release yesterday because I planned to rip a box anyway and thought it might be a good way to get a game in. Unfortunately, but fortunately, only 4 people signed up. So while we had a pod, only 1 game was had. I was in seat 1 playing the Sariyama, but honestly didn't do too much all game due to some run-of-the-mill pre-release mana screw. Get fucked me. Seat 2, who we'll call Lord of War, was running Tanuk Memorial Ensign. That's the green and red one, I believe. That like pings damage, I think. It's not the other Tanuk that's like mono red cheat shit into play. Seat 3 is a child who had Halia Ascendant Cadet at the helm. We'll call him National Treasure. These are all Nicolas Cage films.
Hell
Seat
yeah.
4 is National Treasure's father, Con Air, who is also running Halia. Literally, their first 3 turns were identical. It was kind of suspicious, honestly, but I wasn't about to accuse a child of cheating, and it opened some heat, chalking the box up as a win. So I was willing to overlook that and the fact that they barely swung at each other, if at all. The real salt came from 3 key moments. Moment 1, 5 or 6 turns into the game, both Halias have large board states and plenty of +1/+1 counters. Tanuk has triggered his landfall plenty of times with lander tokens, and I've barely kept myself safe by chump blocking with my Mutavault and recurring it with an Ice-Till Explorer. On his turn, Lord says something along the lines of, if I was trying to play competitive, I'd be over there, gesturing to the regular pre-release event happening concurrently, but here goes, and proceeds to pull a 4-piece infinite combo. Luckily, Con Air was able to destroy their sack outlet, or the game would have ended there, because Lord of War obviously researched the set more than the rest of us. Personal salt, small grains. Moment 2, a few turns later, Lord of War proclaims, this is going to be a long turn. I have another combo. Turns out his combo was just Mutinous Massacre, naming even. It entirely destroyed my board and split both National Treasures and Con Air's boards in half. Thus ensues a long discussion about death triggers, as National Treasure had a couple dockworker drones and a Meltstrider Eulogist. Lord of War says that none of their triggers matter because they can't happen in the middle of his spell, so he would have control of the Eulogist and some other things when they trigger, and says that we should call a judge if we think he's wrong. We don't call a judge, which in hindsight, I think was a mistake. But we
Yeah.
But we do get Lord of War to agree to let Treasure draw 3 off the Eulogist. Turns out because he turns around to kill National Treasure with his now massive board. Personal salt, you were shitty to a child over a game out of 10. Moment 3, another couple turns pass. I'm apparently still in the game, and Con Air and Lord of War are just swinging back and forth until Lord of War only has a Mechan Assembler and 13 life. Con Air casts Emergency Eject to destroy the Assembler, but Lord of War argues he would get the robot, as it would see the lander enter and something rest in peace, and last known information, again citing that triggers can't happen in the middle of a spell. This is all important as Con Air has a 13/13 Halia, and Lord of War would be left open if they didn't get that token. We're done arguing with him at this point of a 3.5-hour game, Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
And just let him have the token to jump block. He recurs his infinite combo from the yard and proceeds to win on his next turn. Personal salt, the salt that's left on your skin after a day at the beach, baking in the sun. Moral of the story, when in doubt, call a judge, especially when the person suggesting you could is pretty sure they have it right, so they don't think that you need to. Thanks for your patience. Links down below for all of the Scryfall cards. Well, thank you, Oblio.
Wow.
Thank you, Oblio. What a G.
I think the number of times that I've called, I think almost all of the times I've called a judge have been times where I'm pretty sure I know how something works. So those are like exactly the times you should call a judge when you're pretty sure. Because you're not sure. That means inherently you're not sure.
Exactly.
I think the main card that matters the most is the wipe that was described.
Yeah, so this is Mutinous Massacre. It costs 3, 2 black, and 2 red. It's a sorcery. Choose odd or even. Destroy each creature with mana value of the chosen quality. Then gain control of all creatures until end of turn. Untap them. They gain haste until end of turn.
That's the main one, right? So it's that resolving while someone has something with death triggers.
Yeah, so the 2 death triggers were Dockworker Drone, which says when this creature dies, put its counters on target creature you control. And then Meltstrider Eulogist. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, draw a card.
So the way this works is all of the things on the card happen as they are on the card in order. Then any triggers that would result from those actions go onto the stack. They're put onto the stack at that point.
Yeah.
In active player, then non-active players triggers are put on. So when you resolve this mutiny here, The first thing you do is you choose your number, then you destroy all the things. So all of those things would die. The triggers are like kind of put in a little holding zone. They're not on the stack yet, but we know they're going to go on the stack. Then the control change happens. So then all the triggers go on the stack. So then you would get your draws for any creature that died with counters on them, and you'd put counters on any creatures you still controlled, which theoretically would be none at that point. So the player doesn't get control of any of the creatures that die, so there's no reason they would ever get control out of any of the death triggers either. They'd have to get control of all creatures, then destroy some number of creatures, and then they'd get the death triggers there.
Yeah, so I just looked it up, and this person was wrong.
Yes.
So the triggers still happen, but they don't go on the stack until the spell is resolved.
Exactly.
But yeah, like the triggers definitely still happen. You would still be getting the draws, and you would still get the ability to move the +1/+1 counters with that dock worker drone dying. So they definitely cheated you there. And yeah, you probably should have called someone. I mean, it sounds like they compromised and gave National Treasure the card draw because it didn't really matter. They were just about to attack them and kill them anyways.
Yeah, but if someone is willing to compromise on something they're pretty sure about,
yeah, exactly.
The translation of that is, I know I'm cheating you, but I feel a little bad about it. So I'll give you this little bit of value when you should be getting a lot more.
You should be getting way more.
That's so dumb.
And then they also Oblio also sent me a Reddit thread to a turn 4 infinite combo that must have come out, like must have been posted and come out before this event. And it sounds like, like they said, this person kind of did some research and knew about their set, knew that this combo was a piece of it. So, which is fine. Like you're allowed to research and get sweaty and play combos. I love combos, but it is kind of an interesting moment.
That part, I don't think you're super in your rights to be salty about. Like, players will research stuff. Like, that's fine. They're allowed to get excited about things and want to know about a set before it comes out. And if that happens to give them an advantage when they play, that's also allowed. It's kind of fair play.
Yep. So the last weird piece here is Mechan Assembler and Emergency Eject. Mechan Assembler costs 5 mana. It's a creature. It's a 4/4. Whenever another artifact you control enters, create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. This only triggers once per turn. So this is that final blocker that they had against the 13/13 Halia. It was removed with an Emergency Eject. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a lander token. So you destroy the permanent, then the lander token comes into play. You don't get the robot.
Yeah, so you wouldn't get the robot here.
Yeah, you wouldn't get the robot.
But not because of that reason, not because things can't happen during the spell, but because of the order they happen. So if this said target opponent creates a lander token, then destroy target creature that opponent controls, you'd still get the token because you'd have an artifact enter. But it doesn't say that. Like this is where the order still matters. All the things that happen in order. It's just that your triggers for all of those things, they still see everything, but they go on the stack after.
Yeah, I mean, there's some shady shit here. They got 2 things wrong. And I think that threat of like, yeah, you can call the judge, but I know that I'm right, but you can still call the judge if you think I'm wrong. That's such an interesting thing because I do think that more often than not, it causes people to not call judges.
Yeah. It's
like a weird mind game.
But only inexperienced players.
Yeah.
It really feels like a used tactic. It feels like someone that it was very intentional about all of this rule breaking, which is really, really annoying. Like you're just caring about it in the wrong way here.
And especially after like a 3.5 hour game, I mean, you're just worn down. You're not really at a point where you want to argue that. So like, I totally understand just acquiescing and being like, whatever, man, you fucking win. I don't care. But it still is very salty to have somebody who's acting that way in a game.
Well, salt rating on this one?
I mean, 3.5 hour game, I'm already wicked salty.
Yeah.
And this is just what was this again? It's a box commander league. So you rip a box and you build a commander deck out of it. So like, you're not even playing a great commander deck, that's the kind of stuff that gets me salty. Like being trapped in a 3.5 hour game with a deck that's not good and an opponent that isn't pleasant. is a very frustrating evening.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing? What's the goal here?
Yeah. What's the goal here? Why would they do that? And that's like before all the weird cheating shit comes into play, you know? Like that makes it even weirder is that this person is pulling this shit in like what is incredibly casual. Like I would be shocked if you had a bracket 2 deck coming out of this type of building event. You know what I mean? Like it can't be very good. I know Edge of Eternities had some good like lands and stuff like that might be able to help your deck, but for the most part, you're probably building a pretty dog shit deck. And to somebody be so sweaty, I don't know. It's just so corny, man.
Yeah. That's the rule now.
That's the rule now. That's the way it is.
It's a great SNL.
Yeah, it is a good one. Oh man. Well, that gets me pretty fucking salty. We've had an interesting mix of stories tonight. Lots of rule stuff.
Lots of rules. It's great.
Yeah.
It's been a good one for the rule boys, the rule
really
men,
has been.
the lawyers.
Yeah, the rules lawyers. We
lawyers.
Summoned
That's probably illegal. We're probably not. We haven't passed the bar. That probably gets us in trouble.
Yeah, we're just like clerks that work in a lawyer office. The rules clerks.
Yeah.
We're basically the guy from the first story where we're like, no, we're judges, but we're not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that is us. But I try to do it with good intention instead of to my advantage.
Yeah, we're not trying to be dickheads about it.
Yeah.
But we are speaking with authority about maybe things we don't know. But
for sure.
I think we got it all right. I think we got it all right.
I think we nailed it, actually. So is it that time of the week?
Mike, I think it is that time of the week.
The time of the week that comes every week?
It's the time of the week that comes every motherfucking week. It's the time of the week where we say, Mike.
What time is it, baby?
Mike,
baby.
Mike. What's the salty card of the week?
Yes. I hit all the cues just in the exact wrong order. The salty card of the week this week is...
In the arms of a Sarah angel, when you tap for 3 green, what once was a mana ability now just taps at instant speed. You were nerfed by the wizard for your power and majesty. In the arms of a Sarah angel, I'll still play you in bracket 3.
Rest in peace, Selvala. Rest in peace, Selvala.
Pictures of crying loots.
Yeah, crying loots in cages. It's a really emaciated loot. Like, I'm so hungry.
Oh, no.
Oh man. Of course, that's Sarah McLachlan's in the arms of the angels. And you know, rest in peace, Selvala. We're sorry that your ability sucks shit now. Yeah. But also low-key glad I don't have to play against the deck anymore.
Oh my God. More rock dress.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Sam.
I'm actually glad to play against a stronger deck that I'll lose to more often. Mike and I played against Selvala for like 4 fucking years, man. Like we had episodes where you and I complained. Like there's a history of us being like, please make another deck,
something
Tony.
Else. Yeah, I got to slip Gavin a crisp 20 when I see him next.
Seriously, dude. Like I'm so like then Tony got on Obnix and we were like, what a breath of fresh air. It's great. So yeah, rest in peace.
It was a lovely salty song, Sam.
Thanks, Mike.
The salty card of the week this week is the Soul Stone.
Oh, very interesting that this is a salty card.
It is 1 and a black for a legendary artifact, Infinity Stone. Indestructible, tap, add black. You can also Pay 6 and a black to tap it and exile a creature you control to harness the Soul Stone.
Ooh.
And then if it's been harnessed, at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So Sam, does the Soul Stone make you salty?
I know it as the terminus of return, and I harness its origin ability. That's the arena version.
Yeah, nice. Through the omen paths.
Yeah, through the omen paths. I think there's a lot to get salty about with the Soul Stone. When the Soul Stone was printed, let me rephrase. There's a lot to get salty about with the Soul Stone, but I don't know if it has really maintained its salt over time. Mm-hmm. When it was first printed, everybody was like, what the fuck is WotC doing? They're printing chase cards that are auto includes in every black deck.
Yeah.
And like, that's so bullshit. Like, if you're playing Commander, you need to have a Soul Stone. If you're playing black in your deck at all, like, it's so good. They were frustrated about like the chase elements of it. I think people were also just frustrated about Marvel coming into Magic at the time, and that overlapping with the Soul Stone, or the Terminus Stone, as I call it, was putting a lot of salt into the moment of this card. I think it hasn't stood the test of time. In fact, I think as a card itself, it's pretty mid.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you're better off playing like a Signet or something that costs 2 generic mana to cast, especially in multicolored decks. In a monocolored deck, it's still pretty great.
Yeah, it's still pretty good for a mono black deck.
It gives you some good end game stuff, But even then, like 7 mana to basically get like 1/2 of Shieldred, where at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to recur something back to the battlefield. I don't know if that's really what I want to be doing for 7 mana. Like, there are spells that cost 7 mana that will probably just help you win the game. So it is one of those things that I'm like, I wonder how often it actually gets channeled or harnessed.
Tapped into its origin.
Yeah. How often does the Terminus Stone become origined in your average Commander game? I can't really say. I know like we were pretty interested in it for some CDH decks, Sisse's mess around with it. And I've heard from some people, and I think from you as well, that it's like maybe okay, but like hasn't pulled a ton of weight.
It's pretty mid. I think the white one is better for Sisse.
For sure. Yeah. Now that one's out. But I think a lot of the salt is genuinely in like the fact that it was printed as a staple. It was this crazy chase card and was so expensive, and then has these print versions that are outrageously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of got just wrapped up in like that collector booster hype,
Yeah, totally.
But personally, it's never, ever made me salty. And when I see it on the other side of the battlefield, I essentially feel nothing.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, so Soulstone, I think everything you said is right on the money. I think there was a lot of salt associated with this card, totally outside of the mechanical identity of this card, just with the fact that like, it's good enough to make it into most black decks, and it's expensive, and it's Universes Beyond. And it immediately, the fact that there was one in the Marvel set was like, wait, you're telling me there's going to be
5
Marvel sets, right?
And people are already so burnt out on Marvel.
Yeah. And like, you're telling me there's going to be 5 because now I know there is, because there's only one card in this set. So that's kind of annoying. It is also mid. So despite being really good, it's like not amazing for Sisse, which is like a little salty for me. And then the other thing, this is just an aesthetic thing about this card that drives me a little bit nuts, is the fact that it means that Infinity is an artifact subtype. Like, what do you mean? How is Infinity an artifact? Like, come on. Infinity is a concept. Dude. It's not an artifact. That doesn't work.
That's a
Put
really
Infinity on enchantments or something.
Point.
I don't know. It bothers me. No problem with Elder on creature types for some reason, but Infinity being an artifact subtype really does annoy me.
I think one thing that I really do like about it, though, is the art.
Yeah, I mean, it does look cool.
By, what's his name? Vulcan Baga? I'm saying that wrong, but that's a fucking sick name, because they have done a lot of like really iconic artifacts like Chrome Mox and some other treatments and things like that. So it has a really similar look. Like it harkens to that really classic
Two hands holding a rock, you know?
Yeah, the two hands holding a rock. Like they've done Mox Diamond, they did Chrome Mox, they did Mox Opal, they did the Vintage Masters art for Mox Pearl, Mox Emerald, Mox Jet, Mox Ruby, Mox Sapphire. Like it's this really, really iconic look, this iconic artist coming in and providing this treatment. So I have to give them their kudos on that. Like, I don't love 5 Marvel sets. The last Marvel set was actually pretty dope. Spider-Man was dog water, but I think that they're doing a really good job with like the art treatments. And as annoying as those chases are, because they spike up, you know, the cost of a lot of things or the cost of collector boxes and they're impossible to get, they do look really dope. The Thanos one, I'm actually not super into because it's almost identical art across all 5 of these.
Yeah.
I assume it's just the same Thanos with a fist, but one stone is different, which I don't like. But everything else aesthetically, I think is pretty hot.
I mean, a deck with all of them in the Thanos gauntlet style.
Yeah.
That's gonna be sick when someone has that.
That would be cool.
And drops, 10 grand on that in 4 years, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty sick bracket 1 deck.
So a nice costly bracket 1 deck. Where do you think this lands in the top 300 saltiest cards?
That's a good question. I wonder about this one because the salt was hot. The salt was piping hot earlier in the year.
Steaming.
And I think it has come down a bit. I'm going to say this is 129.
All right, listener, get your guess in. It is a competition between you and Sam. Should have guessed actually before Sam told us.
Now you're cheating,
listener. Now you're cheating. You're changing your guess because you know what Sam's is. Anyway,
you should have written it down.
The winner is Sam.
Hell yeah!
Sam actually beat the audience this time. It's 146. So pretty close there.
I was pretty fucking close.
You kind of tapped into the fact that people were overly salted about it because of just the world. Yeah, nicely done.
Well, thank you.
That's it. That wraps it up. I guess one other piece that is interesting about it, is the fear was, this is going to make it into every deck that can run it.
Yep.
That is a reasonable fear. It's in 4.4% inclusion, which
that's pretty high.
Is actually surprisingly high for what, like a lot of cards do not get that level of inclusion, basically.
Yeah. And I think there's some cost salt here too that I don't think we mentioned, but like the base version of this is $100 at least. I think it's a little bit more now. So I think that's a frustrating element of it as well. But yeah, I mean, with proxying nowadays, I'm not surprised with more and more people running this. If somebody proxied this into a deck, I wouldn't think twice because it's not like, you could proxy a Gaia's Cradle or you could proxy a fucking Soulstone, like it's pretty low on the totem pole of somebody proxying busted bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for the Salty Card of the Week. Thanks for playing.
Thanks, Mike. That was a lovely salty card. And thank you to all of our listeners out there. I'm going to shout them out, our Salt Shake Your Tier listeners. And this week we have Swankup, Bobo Fett, Clearbook, Rothbox, Captain Cross, Sire Speedy, Thoughtmas Prime, Dusty Cupboards, Guy Stromling, Serrana Sequoia, Ramming Speed, Dev JP, Tadan Kung, David Scott, The Crimson Chariot, Stormtrooper Jake, The Quiet One, Cosmic Cryptid, Thumbs 3, Lieutenant Dan MTG, Hello Is It Me, Perjocho Cinco, Above the Beat, and Young Padawan Welder. Thank you all for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. If you out there, listener, if you want more Howling Salt Mine in your life, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Howling Salt Mine. We've got a bunch of bonus content on there. We have an awesome Discord community where we hang out. We play monthly game nights with people. We talk all day about Magic. We share memes. We're talking about spoilers. We're sharing deck builds. We have a CDH league and a Pauper league. There's a lot of fun stuff going on. So if you want to get into the heart of the Howling Salt Mine community, jump on in. Other ways you can help support the show, send us your salty stories. Of course we need them. We got to read 3 every single week. Every single motherfucking week, as Tim would say.
Every week, all of them.
Every motherfucking week. And you can send them to us at our Gmail, which is thehowlingsaltmine@gmail.com, or go to our website. We've got a form on there, howlingsaltmine.com or thehowlingsaltmine.com. Both are going to get you there. We're inconsistent with the folks. What can we say? We started with the, and then afterwards we were like, we don't need that, but now we're stuck with it. Other ways you can help support us, check out our merchandise. We have our shirts over on Bonfire. We have our play mats on Jank Mats, and we have custom Dragon Shield sleeves on the Dragon Shield website. You can also use our code STAYSALTY for 5% off your purchase at checkout on the Dragon Shield site. And whatever you buy, it's going to be a little bit cheaper because of us. Other things that you can do to help us out, give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Follow our short form content whenever we're putting it out. We're doing it on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. And last but not least, we got to shout him out, our buddy Devin Burnett, for giving us our beautiful podcast art. If you're ever in Asheville, North Carolina, hit him up and get a tattoo. 10,000 subscribers or bust. Wow, thanks, Tony. Indeed. Thanks again, everybody. And as always, stay salty and don't forget to draw an additional card during your draw step.
It's the Howling Salt Mine. The Howling Salt Mine.
I was up on Simic. I was on a Simic.
Up on that Simic.
I was up on that Simic.
Bouncing on that Simic. Tony's not here. Someone's got to help out,
I was bouncing on its Simic style. I was playing a Simic Evolve deck with some.
Oh, Jesus
bless you.
Christ. Oh, man.
Whoa. Bless you.
Tapping into my old man sneezes a little bit these days.
Don't throw your back out.
Yeah, I think I did, actually. I think I just herniated a disc